couple of days ago, I was on our YouTube channel and I was talking about staples or not. And I told you, our YouTube channel folks, thank you very much for being on YouTube and following us. By the way, I told you I would let you know how the new pneumatic staple gun uh, worked because as we talked in um, the previous video, our Omer staple gun had run into an issue and would no longer staple. So, in an effort to get finished with a job that was only needing to have two staples put in it, I opted to buy a unit online, which was delivered 5 or 6 hours after I ordered it. Stunning. I don't know how they well, I do know how they do it, but I don't know how they do it. To put it quite frankly, um, the item I got was a Bostitch um, pneumatic narrow crown stapler, and I got it in a few hours, and it is a nice piece of equipment for the price. I don't know the model number. I don't have it in front of me right now, but uh, I can recommend it for the amount of money that it cost vis-a-vis our Omer. Um, Two different types of machines, but they do the essentially the same thing. Um, so if you are looking for a pneumatic narrow crown stapler, if you're in the racket business, you may want to have one handy. As we talked before in the previous post about staples or no staples, we don't like to use a lot of staples, but boy, I tell you, when you want to use a staple, you need a good staple gun. And the Omer is fantastic. The Bostitch that we received um, is has done a very good job. We obviously before we started working on the 301.4 staple situation, we tested it on a lot of foamed pallets with butt caps. Um, it has an interesting feature whereby you can, excuse me, you can adjust the um, depth of the crown. It's not really ultra precise, not to the thousandths of an inch or something like that, but you can adjust it so it will drive the crown of the staple below the surface of the substrate you're driving it into. And I found that once we got it set up, it worked really beautifully and it did a very nice job. So um, that's a feature that I like. It also has a feature that has a little cap on the stop pad, I will call it. In other words, this pad has to be compressed to allow the trigger to activate the pneumatic cylinder, which is good because you don't want to have that thing activating when you've got your finger under the thing, okay? Because you're gonna staple your finger to wherever it's laying, and don't do it because those staples are brutal. They're good staples, but they're brutal. You don't put them in your fingers. So be careful with the staple gun. As a matter of fact, if you're working on a staple gun, disconnect it from the pneumatic source. That would be my first recommendation. But I told you I'd let you know how it worked. It worked very well. I'm glad we got it. I'm glad we got it in such a hurry. Um, and we will get the Omer obviously repaired and use it as well, even though we try to not to use a lot of staples as we talked about before. But if you are looking for a good pneumatic staple gun. Uh, and you need one that's not too expensive, and you need it in a hurry. Go to the Bostitch, or in this particular case, we went to Amazon to get it delivered overnight. So whatever suits you, and it's worthy of the cost, in my opinion. I'm not going to tell you how much it costs because quite frankly, I don't remember to the penny, but it's well worth the cost. Okay, so please, if you need one, um, obviously, if you're getting a pneumatic gun, you're going to have a pneumatic source. Okay, so if you don't have a pneumatic source, and you're going to be spending more money for that as well. But anyway, the pneumatic guns are far superior to electric guns. I would highly recommend it if you're really, really doing good, solid work for your business, either tennis rackets or cabinets or whatever it is you do. Okay, so I told you I would let you know the next day. I didn't. I missed it by a day, but I'm telling you now to our YouTube followers that um, the 301.4 is gone. Two staples in it, stapled by a Bostitch gun that did a very, very good job, I'm happy to say. So, we're going to stop the staple story now, I think, okay? And we're going to go on very briefly to another story, hopefully a quick story, but sometimes it turns out not to be so uh, quick. Uh, and that story is about, and this is going to surprise you, I know, but it's about string. Yeah, surprise, surprise, huh? So, big deal. It still surprises me that there are a number of players, good players, some beginners, some intermediate, some very, very good, that don't realize that tennis string, loses tension over time. Some lose tension over time more quickly than others. Others lose it very subtly, but it does happen. It will happen. Almost everything that is the least bit elastic is going to lose some tension. But what surprised me more than the player not knowing it, or not realizing it, or not understanding it, a coach had told one of their players that the string was stiffer than the previous racket, which was a demo racket. And she said, "This is not. This is stiffer, than the racket you demoed." And I thought to myself, I said, "Well, of course, it's stiffer than a racket that's been hit with for a day or two or three or four, whatever it happens to be." Okay, that's why we recommend typically, if once you're down to the last one or two rackets that you are going to make a decision about, we recommend stringing them as you're going to play with them and try it again. Okay, and that's pretty much what happened in this particular case. Um, the the coach seeing or hitting or hearing the newer racket said, "Oh, it's a lot stiffer than you were using before." Oh, yes, a lot. I wouldn't really call it a lot, but it is stiffer indeed. And why in the world? It almost occurred to me that this is it's got to be a joke, because a coach at any level, a coach at any level, has obviously had some experience with rackets and string and knows that the tension goes south a little bit, you know. So anyway, that's what I wanted to mention that very, very briefly. Um, String does lose tension, and thus the entire string bed will lose tension. So if you weren't aware of that as a player or as a coach or as a racket technician, uh, remember that. You know, a freshly strung racket is going to be stiffer than a racket that has been hit with. With the numbers that we take for every racket we do, we know pretty precisely when that's going to occur based on the properties of the string, etc. But if if you're a coach or if you're a student of a coach, um, talk about those kind of things because it's important. Okay, you can't have someone telling you that something is stiffer. It is, of course, without saying that they understand the fact that what you were hitting with before, yesterday, the day before, was not a stiff. And tomorrow, the racket that's too stiff today is not going to be as stiff as it was today. I mean, it happens. It's very subtle for some strings. Other strings, it just sort of drops off. Boom, done. It's over. But remember, string loses tension. All right? So there. That's my string tension loss rant for today. Okay? So anyway, thank you very, very much for watching our YouTube channel and appreciate it. If you have any questions at all about anything we talk about, you can go onto the website, racketquest.tennis, and make a comment. Under every post, there is a comment function, a key. Okay, so even if you don't want to talk about that post, you can do a comment and we will get it. Or you can stop by the world headquarters in Castleberry, Florida. Glad to have you. Or you can text us 407 491 4755. Text us. Don't call typically because sometimes they get missed. Okay? So text us or come by or go on the website. Your choice. And of course, watch YouTube. Okay. Bye bye. Thank you very much. Bye.